It's kind of insane the rocket trajectory that gaming has been, and it's not even close when it comes to profit, with games making over $1 billion, which is like 1,000x in profit compared to movies who make $1 billion. And yeah, it's not even close on the return of what most movies make. Most games and even like Call of Duty sell 35 million copies and rake in all kinds of cash from microtransactions. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we had a lot of companies who overestimated themselves, and it feels like they almost did it on purpose to try to capitalize on the moment of people staying home. Well, those overestimations the last 3 years have pretty much come back to haunt everybody, with over 23,000 people being laid off in total the past 2 years, and in 2024, more than 16,000 people being laid off. And I would love to say that this is the end of it and this is probably going to be going away. Microsoft announced that they're going to be planning layoffs in the near future to the gaming division of Xbox. Xbox's parent company, Microsoft, has had layoffs the past 6 quarters, which is something that's really unprecedented considering that they're in the green and have been making profit. But apparently, for these 3D companies, it's not enough. With 2,500 people being laid off at Xbox the past couple of years, we are more than likely going to see thousands of more jobs cut at Xbox, with estimates saying that it's more than likely going to be 2,000 jobs, which is 10% of the Xbox team. We more than likely aren't only going to see job layoffs, but studios close, and the reason why this is happening is because Microsoft and Xbox are trying to recoup the many consolidations that they've made with buying Bethesda and also buying Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard alone cost $69 billion, which is probably one of the biggest purchases of all time, and if I'm not mistaken, is the biggest purchase of all time when it comes to Microsoft or anything in the world. And the reason why this is so concerning is because it really feels unwarranted or unnecessary. These are jobs that more than likely can bring more profit in the future, and it's not like Xbox or Microsoft are hurting in revenue. The Xbox Series X and S has generated over $80 billion in total revenue. In the fiscal year of 2024, Xbox gaming revenue went up $15 billion. The gaming segment from Xbox hardware and Xbox services such as digital transactions, Game Pass, video games, and cloud services has gone up significantly as well. So much so, in the first couple of months of 2025, increased by 8% is what they got on all those digital Game Pass and everything that is Xbox services. So the reason why this feels so bad and why it feels greedy is because it is. They are pretty much cutting a bunch of jobs in order to make profit and to be able to pay the big boys on top. Because if you keep the current people that are there that are qualified, you have to pay them more, and instead you cut their jobs and then hire more people that are not as qualified in order to pay them less. This is kind of a vicious cycle that companies have been doing for the longest time, that in the future ends up hurting your company because you have a bunch of people who are inexperienced in doing a lot of the things that the people that were there before know how to do. Not to mention, losing talent is probably one of the most horrible things you can do when you spend $69 billion trying to buy that talent in the first place, and getting rid of those people. You can't really find talent like that just laying around. This is something that we've seen with different companies losing talent and going on to make great games on their own, which I hope a lot of these layoffs end up doing, is that they make their own companies or end up going with companies that are actually there to incubate their idea to do what they want to do. The unfortunate thing is that these giant companies have to learn the hard way that talent is what's going to bring you in money in the future. But unfortunately, with a lot of these giant corporations, they are focused on one thing and one thing only, is to give money to the people on top and to provide profit to the shareholders that want rocket all-time high profit, which is impossible to sustain. Anybody who can tell you anything about business is that anything that goes up eventually has to plateau or come down. I'd like to say that this is the end of gaming companies and these giant corporations, laying people off from gaming divisions. But unfortunately, with the consolidation of these different companies buying of companies, we just heard that Sony wants to buy the WB streaming and game services, which more than likely will lead to more layoffs because they are jobs that overlap with each other. This is no different with other companies trying to buy all kinds of divisions from gaming. We see this with Embracer. We see this with different giant companies who just want to put their hand in the gaming division because it's so profitable, not understanding that the people that they're hiring, the people that are there that are talent, is what makes money. The talent is the reason why you make these all-time record high profits, is because of the fact that you give them the leeway and the understanding to make something that people like and are willing to pay $70 for, and in Microsoft's case and in Xbox's case, $80. And on top of all these layoffs, of course, Microsoft had to come out and say that they're raising their games to $80, and more than likely Game Pass will also inevitably go up in price, which is probably one of the most dumbest things that I've ever heard in my entire life. Is that not only are you raising your game prices, not only are you making all-time record revenue, not only are you laying off people after all of that, but you're planning to raise the price of Game Pass and you raise the prices of video games while simultaneously laying people off. Despite almost every company from Sony to Nintendo to Xbox, from Sony raising prices, not only their games but also to their consoles, to Microsoft also raising game prices to their Game Pass to an all-time high, and also raising games to $80, to Nintendo releasing a $450 handheld that has a horrible screen and an $80 game that is probably the only next-gen Switch game that you can play at the moment that's worthwhile in getting. One can only hope that the next generation of games, or the second half of this generation, is defined by companies making a more strategic move. And the reason why companies made so much money, the reason why gaming took such a rocket high growth since we were kids, is because that gaming was affordable and people that were talented were trusted enough by these companies to make them games that brought them in billions in revenue and profit. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that a lot of these layoffs are going to stop? What do you think about the layoffs in totality? What's happening in the gaming industry? What do you think about the layoffs that are coming up in Microsoft? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And remember, you're pretty good.